Good evening to our Autism Mom Happy Hour. I hope you have carved out for you an hour of time to fill your own cup, to visit. I hope people will show up and chat. As those of you who have attended other happy hours know, we're experimenting here with a new format using Facebook Live, and that's much more difficult than the prior Zoom arrangement because we're not all showing up. And I think Facebook now has a way to do that. I'll have to look into that. But I miss seeing your faces. I miss that interaction, which I love so much, and that just makes me so happy. So we'll have to figure this out. But for tonight, we're doing it this way, Facebook Live. So obviously, um, chat. Um, I'm actually not seeing anything in the chat. I hope I will as the evening goes on. Um, I don't know what's happening with this format. So anyway, let's hope it all works out well. But if I don't answer you, it just means I'm not seeing the chat. So forgive me. And if that does happen, write me a comment afterward and we will be in touch and continue the conversation. I really hope it's going to work because I do want to have a conversation with you. As you know, the topic, today's conversation starter was a quote that I use in my new book, You Just Have to Love Me. And it's the one by Michelangelo. I saw the angel in the marble and I carved until I set him free. And I just love that quote because it feels so evocative of so many deep levels of meaning around autism. So specifically with Ethan, it was we realized when he went to a school that offered facilitated communication because he is virtually nonverbal. He has very limited language. It was there that we began to see the potential within him because the other ways to communicate were not working for him. And when he had gone to the school that did offer it, the very first week he was there, we had done an intake before, so we had a sense that we were onto something unexpected with him and that he knew so much more than we had ever imagined he knew, and there was so much more depth and ability than we had ever imagined. So that very first week at that school that was offering this, and we again, during that initial input time, um, he was typing, about what he liked and didn't like, and what flavor ice cream he preferred, and realizing he was able to spell the word chocolate. It was a crazy time. So that first week at the new school that offered this technique, the teacher actually called me after the first week to tell me what had happened with Ethan because it blew her mind. She had said to him at the end of that week, Ethan, type 3 words to tell me how you feel about being in the new school. And she told me afterward that she only asked him for 3 words because she didn't want to overwhelm him with too many questions. And she was expecting words that would talk about the difference between the old school and the new school. Words like big and noisy, loud. And she wasn't expecting the 3 words that Ethan typed were basking in joy, which of course was mind-blowing for everyone. For her, she had to call and tell me this. It was amazing. And we saw that we were onto this amazing revelation in Ethan's case, that under the veil of the autism, under Ethan's inability to verbally speak freely and fluently, was this amazing, profound human being who just had been locked in without an ability to express himself until now. So it was a great reminder in life, and a reminder for all of us moms, that we must always presume competence. Even if we think we know, even if we think we know our child's ability, or maybe it's a stranger you're having thoughts about. it may seem very obvious to you, very clear. Obviously, this person doesn't understand or isn't paying attention or isn't capable. And it feels very clear and obvious, and, what's there to even think about, to just dismiss this and move on to something else that does warrant more thought. But what could really warrant more thought than whether a fellow human being is expressing their truth or not, especially if that's someone you care about, or though, even if it isn't? Think about the implications of that. All these years, we would talk about Ethan without, he might be right in the room with us, and talk about him as if he weren't even there, as if he didn't understand, as if he weren't capable of participating in any way, as if his opinion didn't matter. I was certainly guilty of doing that. Never dreaming at that time of the human being that I might be affecting, and who I was, being dismissive of. And so that even happened, I had to wrap my brain around this, that this person is so much deeper, is a different person than I had ever imagined him to be. I had underestimated him all this time. And to the point where, using that very example I just gave you, the basking in joy, I went around ecstatic, telling everybody I knew, do you believe what he typed? He typed basking in joy. Isn't that amazing? And yes, I was gathering evidence. Isn't that amazing? And people said, yes, it really is. And one friend said, that's an unusual way of speaking for anybody, especially a 9-year-old, but anybody. It's actually kind of poetic. I wonder if that might be something Ethan is interested in, that about writing poetry. So I glom onto that idea. I go on to Amazon. I order every kind of book encouraging kids to write poetry. I don't know. I don't know how many there were. Haiku for kids, all kinds of stuff. I order all these books. I go into school to work with Ethan on the communication, on the typing, and I don't say anything to Ethan when I walk into that classroom, but I start telling the teacher about this. Oh, wasn't this a great idea? You told me what he typed, and I went and I ordered all these books. And so Lisa said to Ethan, Ethan, you heard what mom just said. How do you feel about all that? And it was like, oh my goodness. She had the courtesy to ask him how he felt about all this. I jump in, what a good mother I am. I ordered him all these books. If he's a poet, I want him to be a poet, and making it all about me. So, I said, Ethan, I'm so sorry. I should have asked you first, bud. I'm sorry. How do you feel about writing poetry? So he leans over to the keyboard and he types. And Lisa reads it and she laughs and she said, oh, I should have known. He had typed, I already do. He already writes poetry. I'm like, what? So really, can you give us an example? So instead of answering right away, Ethan starts laughing and getting silly, and he falls on the ground and he's laughing. And we're encouraging him, come on, buddy, get up, let's go back. And he's being silly. And so Lisa said to him, Ethan, if you're done with this conversation, let me know, and we'll finish up and move on. But it's not the time to relax, so let's go. Get up, please, and let's continue working. So he actually gets up, he sits back down in the chair, and he types, life is beautiful when people understand your thoughts. And then he typed, now I am done. So all to say, absolutely an angel embedded in the marble. But there's another thought here too that I want you to think about. Because yes, that's nice, and we can talk about whether or not all human beings are angels embedded in marble. There's all kinds of marble, all kinds of prisons, all kinds of beliefs that keep us, our true essence, hidden and trapped and not fully expressed. So it's not only our autistic child or special needs child or nonverbal child or child with challenges or child who has to figure out who they are or how to speak their voice or how to modulate their emotions when expressing their thoughts, all of that. But the key part right now, I want to leave you with as another thought, another piece of this angel in the marble idea is you, autism mom. Where in your life are you an angel in the marble, struggling to come out, where you feel I can't struggle out of here. I have other things to do than get out of this prison, or this prison is a prison that I must stay in. As a mother, I must stay here. As a wife, as a daughter, sister, anything. Name the role. Is there a reason that you feel that you must remain within the marble and not carve to set yourself free or ask others to chip away and help you emerge? Now, I mentioned in the conversation starter that, another image here could be, the stone might actually be like a cocoon, that the butterfly has to fight against and struggle against in order to gain its strength, to exercise against, so that it can finally, when it's ready, when it's pushed enough against the challenge, it's ready and strong enough to emerge in strength in order to then take flight. And if you try to make it easy, if you cut it or otherwise open the hole, the valve, or the escape for the butterfly, in fact, it then is not struggling, and it's too weak. It doesn't exercise and get the blood flow going, and it's not able to then truly be strong enough to emerge, and it will die, depending on how much it needed its struggle and at what point you intervened, with the best of intentions, with the intention to help. But in doing that, did you rob the butterfly of its opportunity to actually emerge for itself, to live its own life and do what it needed to do to move on? Because that's really a key thing here. Each human being, our children, have to have their own struggle, as every human being does, no matter what their level of ability, to whatever degree it is. Physical ability, intellectual ability, speaking ability, whatever level of ability we're talking about, each of us enters the world with our own personal, our own soul, our own mission, our own path, the challenges. And as you know from Ethan's story, that he said, he typed that he chose to come here and have challenges. And I didn't ask, and he didn't go into the detail of all that, but I'm sure that it was a path custom made for what he needed to be doing, or how he was going to guide other souls on their own paths. So I want you to think for yourself, how this idea applies to your life. And it may be, and it's not only one answer, and it's not black and white, but one of the answers may be that if you feel you need help in emerging, sometimes the best thing you can do is ask for help. But of course, when we ask for help, the missing piece of that, yes, we must ask for help, But the missing piece that we often don't even know or don't remember is that we must ask for help from the right source. If we need to ask for help from someone or something, whether it's a person, whether it's an organization, whether it's God, who always has the full capacity to help, we need to ask from someone, when it's people, who can help us, who has the resources to help us, the ability, the desire, the bandwidth, the time to help us. Because when we ask for help but not from the right source, we're setting ourselves up for failure and disappointment and suffering. So if for you to emerge, if you need help, if you want someone to help you chip away that marble, ask for those who have the tools, the hammer and the chisels and whatever else, who want to help you chip away. Because in your struggle, you give someone the opportunity to help you in your struggle, and that in turn helps them in theirs. And ultimately, when you struggle, as life can be, but coming from strength and hope and positive belief that all will be well and this is purposeful, you are modeling for your child, whether he or she has autism, special needs, or just any challenge at all, you are modeling for your child what it looks like to choose empowerment and to choose love and to choose choice and community and to choose power and control as much as possible in life and not choose to be a victim of fate and circumstance. That whatever comes your way, you choose to face with strength and integrity and hope. And reach out to, certainly if it's related to autism, reach out to me, reach out to other sister autism moms who have your back, who are invested in your success, who know and feel that when you're happy, we're happy, because we're all one. We're all the human family, and especially those of us with autistic kids, we have our own tribe of understanding. There's no judgment, there's only love and compassion. And I help you in this moment, and then you turn around in the next moment, you're helping me. And that's life, and that's the beautiful cycle of giving and receiving and replenishment. So that's it. I wanted to, give us that conversation starter. I'm not seeing any chat. So I'm thinking, this Facebook Live, the way I'm doing it may not be working quite right now, but please give me your comments, join my group. I've started a new group linked to my new book, You Just Have to Love Me. The name of the new Facebook group is Autism Moms Who Love Their Super Wise Kids. Don't overthink it. I keep saying, don't think, well, I don't know if your kid is great, your kid is perfect, your kid is exactly where he or she needs to be, and so are you. And if there are all those voices that are telling you otherwise, you really need to reach out and have an attitude adjustment from a love perspective and be seen and heard and received and loved. And we're waiting for you. So join that Facebook group and like Mom Spectrum Oasis and reach out to me. I really want to hear from you. Please reach out and give me your comments on today's happy hour, any ideas you have for future topics, things you'd like me to cover. Please let me know, and we will. So thank you so much for joining me for today's happy hour, and I'll see you next week.